GM, and welcome to ShapeShift's weekly governance call. This is number 64. Welcome, everybody. I see some familiar faces in the audience. Some other people might be joining shortly, but we will go ahead and get this started and allow everyone to catch up. Let's see. Mostly familiar faces in the crowd, but just in case, we'll run through real quick. If you're not familiar, if you're not familiar with the process here, uh, we have stage chat where people are able to enter questions, ask questions, comments, just have a chat going on while this call is going on. So feel free to do that in the stage chat. We also have a Zoom presentation for a slide deck that plays that people can tune in there if they like to, but mainly, I mean, in my personal opinion, best way of watching this is through our live streaming. This is one of the calls that does get live streamed, so you will be able to watch it on twitch.tv/ShapeShiftDAO. And that is a great place to kind of get the content if they're able to jump in there and grab the slide deck and preview that over the live feed. It works great. And yeah, so we have that. We have a schedule. I know that I wasn't here last week, but I am here this week. Thank you, Tyler, for once again standing in and serenading the crowd with your DJ voice. And I'm sure you were able to entertain them very much. So I don't see Tyler in the crowd yet. But anyways, thank you everyone for joining. And let's get started. All right, so probably not a lot that we have going on as far as content. It's been quiet in the new forum as well as um, any proposals. Or, we haven't been seeing too many of them lately, but that's fine. Quality over content, right? Or quality over quantity. Let's definitely, pick and choose our battles and utilize our fox in the most opportune ways versus just throwing things to throw things at the wall and see what sticks. So appreciate everyone tuning in. We start the process normally out with appreciations. And then we'll talk a little bit about anything that might be previously passed, which there hasn't been anything recently. So that'll be a quick conversation. And then we jump into any live proposals, which we do have one currently. And then we will talk about anything that would be in the ideation phase or and then we switch gears and go to any recent posts, and then we talk about maybe some previous posts, and all during the any talks of anything that's live or a post or anything like that. We'll give the opportunity to anyone representing those topics to jump on stage and discuss a little bit further, answer questions, as well as if they do not have the time to come up or have already spoke on it in the past, we kind of just give a quick summary and then move on. But during this whole process, feel free to ask questions. If you raise your hand and I do see it, and I will try to get you up on stage, but you can always, like I said, ask in stage chat in the meantime. Okay, so what do we have for appreciations? I'm going to start it off. I don't see Big Kev in the audience. I do see Pasagos. Um, they might come in a little bit later, but one thing I mean, I know that I give appreciations to engineering and to the other work streams that we inter
GM Fox fam. Looks like never was struggling with his mic. Oh,
I am sorry. It looked like my Discord flickered and you guys lost me. And dang, I don't even know when it did. Thank you, Tyler, for jumping up. Where was I? Did I get to my appreciations, Tyler? Oh, he jumped off. Uh,
you had just started. You had mentioned that Big Kev wasn't here, and then you cut out right after that.
Yeah, it looked like my Discord flickered, but it still stayed on in the background. Anyways, thanks, John. I didn't see the stage chat neither. Yeah, I was just gonna say appreciation. I'll start it off with Big Kev. A lot of times when there's any type of infra or issues that might come up that happen with upgrades or changes or even things getting out of sync or whatever. Big Kev obviously still doing his duties as a full-time developer, um, gets pinged on these things, and it's relatively usually early in the morning for him or whatever, but he always jumps in. He always, puts a lot of time and effort into these things, and I just wanna share appreciation with him and to say that, I appreciate all that goes into that. It's a lot of, work and, yeah, appreciations there. Sorry. Hopefully my Discord behaves from now on. But anyways, anyone else who wants to give appreciations, please always feel free to raise your hand or say it in stage chat as said. But I'm gonna go ahead and start reading off the one appreciation I saw that was posted in our Fox Props channel. Um, and it's from someone who has just recently returned back to us at the DAO from being away for a few months. And Crypto Meg had a nice post. She said, I know I am late to the game, but I just wanted to shout out to the creators of the public new roadmap page and shapeshift.com/roadmap. It's awesome and so valuable to the community. I'm assuming it was a UI UX project, but I don't want the props wrong, Fox. So show yourselves and way to go. So just basically calling out the great job that whoever was involved with that. So if you guys or gals want to jump up and accept that appreciation, please do. Let me see the stage chat real quick, see if there's any questions. Nope, just everyone talking about how I disappeared. Excuse me. Apologize for that once again. Anyone else have any appreciations? Let me see if there's any hands risen. No, looks like we'll go with that. But once again, I will say appreciations to the community. I will say that every week if I can. I appreciate everyone in the community. I appreciate all the work that goes into all the effort and everything to continue to build together. And thanks everybody. So, all right, what do we have next? We don't have any past proposals, so I liked Tyler's previous tumbleweed GIF in there. So if anyone's following along of the slide deck, they'll see that again. And then we have we do have an active proposal, which I definitely want to bring to everyone's attention. We have SCP-106. Ooh, excuse me, sorry about that. I'm just getting over a cold, everyone. So I apologize for coughing at everybody, but we do have the proposal, and this is for ratifying the code of conduct and granting the moderation work stream authority. This is live now as an active proposal, so those who are regulars in this call, I'm sure are aware that we've talked about this topic for a while, for a couple weeks. We've had discussions. We've invited Pasta Ghost up, and he's spoken about it. If he would like to, Pasta, if you want to raise your hand or jump up to talk more, I'm going to invite you up right now. But we'll get some more feedback from Pasta, but this is live, everyone. So please take a look and please make your Fox work and vote either way. GM, Pasta, how are you?
GM, doing all right, Neverwise. How about you?
Doing pretty good. If I can hold back the coughing and not have Discord kick me out.
I understand. It's the story of my life. Yeah, SCP 108 is live as of this week. That is going to remain up through the weekend, and I think that's done at 9 a.m. Mountain Time on Monday morning. So if you haven't yet had a chance to go over there and take a look at the final iteration of the proposal and vote on that, it is up live on Snapshot. And as always, I'm free to answer any questions or field any suggestions anybody's got. But yeah, don't have too much more to add.
Yeah, no worries. I know you've spoken about this a couple times, Pasta. So I really appreciate the effort that went into this. And I know this was a group think effort. I know that you took a very big role as far as like getting this out there and answering other people's questions and kind of coordinating some of the different discussions with the moderation team themselves and others in the community. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a group effort. Hopefully not much of any group think. But yeah, I didn't do much, but write down the ideas that were proposed by a large group of people. So yeah, happy to see this hit the ground.
Definitely. Thank you again, sir. That is, like I said, we don't have much in there. So that is our one live proposal that we do currently have. I believe that Tyler took some time last week to go over Metaphoro, which is our new forum. Please, everyone, if you haven't had the opportunity to migrate over to it yet, please do. The other forum is no longer, so make sure you get in on Metaphoro, and it's very easy. There's some articles posted about transferring your old account over to this new platform and getting all your history and stuff in there. If you would like to do that, please do. If not, you can always sign up for a new one. There's a couple ways of signing up. I believe you can use a wallet address as well as a username and password, but let's just get in there and get involved in the conversation and help us keep building. So, this is a great place for us to be able to do that. So if you haven't checked it out, I'm sure a lot of you have already. Get comfortable and, say hi, submit a post, get the conversation started, comment, give feedback, just be involved. That's the best thing you can do. So I'm sure Tyler talked much more eloquently about it last week, but that is my take on my metaphorical slides. So please do that. Currently, there aren't any new ideation posts live. So once again, we'll get our lovely tumbleweed GIF provided by Tyler. Let me check the stage chat real quick before I go to the next one. Okay. I'll let you guys, I see that you guys are kind of going through some questions there. Great to see in the conversation. Yeah, thanks DeFi for the big props to Big Kev too. Seriously. Okay. Thanks everyone for keeping the conversation going in there as well. Next, we do have a couple new posts that are currently in the new forum on the Metaphoro forum. And we'll go ahead and take a quick look at those. I will invite people up if they are in the crowd. Let me see if yep, I do see some people. So I'm going to start sending some invites out and preemptively here. Feel free to jump up. If Marley's here, I'm sure he can jump up on stage as soon as he wants to. But first one we have is a very relatively new post on a conversation that's been had within the community for a little bit now. And this is our, continuing relationship with TaxiState and our Cosmo validator in particular, renewal. I see Scotia jumped up here from TaxiState. GM, sir, how are you? I'll let you explain it best.
GM, yeah, good to, thanks for inviting me up. Yeah, so hopefully you guys had a chance to read the kind of the forum post. We wanted to get some feedback on that. We're definitely proposing, as you know, you've probably heard us talk about, and in the 8-month update that we did a while ago with the Cosmos validator, we're pretty much on a downward trend for the delegations for that guy, and so we want to And our initial proposal came to an end on October 31st. So we wanted to do some new terms on that to try to fix this problem and get it going. So hopefully you've all read it, and I definitely want to hear comments. There was a couple comments on the forum. But in general, we want some new things to happen. So we want to have the DAO create a multi-sig Cosmos wallet so they can accept native atoms. We also would like the DAO to delegate around 10,000 and all of this is up for discussion, of course. These were things that we just came up with. 10,000 atoms to the validator, which at current rates is probably, I think, haven't checked the prices today, but around $130,000, and commit to a couple different postings, like at least 2 postings a month to kind of promote the Cosmos validator. And then probably the most contentious thing is the revenue split. So we're proposing a different revenue split. Instead of the DAO getting 70%, the DAO would get 20%. And we're going to shorten the total proposal to 3 months, since things seem to be moving pretty quickly, and I think that makes more sense. We can adjust them. And we have an incentive, basically, if the DAO can start increasing delegations by the DAO's target growth rate spreadsheet that was put out. They're planning on growing monthly average users and revenues, including the validator revenues, by 15% a month. We're saying that if we get half that in the 3-month period for the DAO, we'll bump up the revenue split to 30% for the DAO, I guess. And then also differences on the TaxiState side. So we will commit with that new revenue that we gain to putting 10% of that back on the self-delegation address, which will mean that we're kind of countering that problem of the declining delegations. So we're going to be adding 10% of that back to the self-delegation address, which then the revenues from that will be split. So that will go up. We'll continue to cover all the hosting, maintenance, and upgrade costs, continue with governance, and pretty much continue to send. And we would like to send atoms, since the DAO will have a new multi-sig address for atoms. We'll send them native atoms, and then the DAO is in charge of when to sell those. Instead of us converting those to USDC and sending those, the DAO can decide, and hopefully the DAO decides to redelegate some of those. And in addition, those are pretty much the basics. And another big, I guess, advantage to this is that the DAO would have a secondary revenue stream with those atoms that they delegate. I hope a lot of people understand, like, basically the revenue from the validator, the DAO and TaxiState are only sharing 10% of the rewards on there. The other 90% of the rewards go directly to the delegators. So I think that's something that the DAO should be taking advantage of, is delegating some native atoms, so they don't have to share that with TaxiState. That goes directly to them. And this is what we came up with. Definitely open to comments and want to hear what people think. So far we have, there's definitely some good comments. I want to shout out to Willie. He had some great comments in there, and as always, he's a great leader, and I want to appreciate his constructive comments. He's never, attacking or anything like that. So shout out to Willie too. I should have done it at the beginning.
No problem. Yeah, we had I know that, and I see John jumped up, and I know Marley's here too. I'll let you guys talk. Just say that we did have a conversation during the Wednesday lunch AMA a little bit about this, and appreciate everyone that was involved in that conversation as well. I know that unfortunately TaxiState wasn't represented there, but give the opportunity now. So Marley and John, I see you're both up here. Please GM and go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a few questions and stuff, but Marley, you go first. This is your proposal.
Yeah, no, I showed up just in time to to catch what Scott was saying, he and I have worked a lot on the proposal, so he represented everything pretty well. And and I think one of the things that I wanted to highlight was that like shortening the length of the proposal gives us a lot more flexibility for the next renewal. So like we found in a 1-year proposal, that's a really, really long time in crypto land. So by having shorter cadences, we can actually be more adaptive as conditions change and improve, and et cetera, and products are delivered, et cetera. Yeah. So go ahead, John.
Okay. Well, first I want to apologize that I have not. I have been reading the forum discussion. I have not had time to weigh in myself. I've just had a really busy week and somewhere on my list, but I haven't got there yet. But this is a good opportunity for me to just comment on a few things. And first, I want to say that I really appreciate TaxiState and the work you guys have done, and I really appreciate that you guys are putting this proposal forward with what you think is a good model for the next 3 months. And generally, I'm very supportive and want to find a way for that relationship to keep going, because I think it's a great one for the DAO, and that you all have been great stewards of that. So first off, just thank you profusely for that. So yeah, a couple of comments or just questions. So first is kind of a question, and I didn't really understand this in the proposal. So Scott, you just mentioned this about the 10,000 atoms that you guys basically are proposing are delegated from the DAO. And I like the idea, although the multi-sig part is still a little complex, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to get that done in time, but that's more something for Willie and others to weigh in on. But it's not clear to me, where do you expect these 10,000 atoms to come from? Because obviously the DAO doesn't have any atoms. Are you basically saying that the DAO needs to stake all of its atoms until it gets to 10,000 atoms? Or that part wasn't clear to me in the proposal.
Yeah, I think we're saying that however the DAO wants to do it, right? I mean, I think that the DAO should show that they have some stake in the game, and I think that number can be negotiated. If 10,000 is too much, I think that's not that many atoms, but I would say, yeah, that they create this multi-sig wallet, purchase those atoms, however, through a DEX, and then delegate those from that address, from that multi-sig address, directly to the validator.
Yeah, I think given the DAO's limited stablecoin treasury and runway and all these things, it might be a big ask to ask the DAO to basically purchase over $100,000 worth of atoms, even though I understand the thing. One thing I might suggest, at least that I would be more supportive of, is maybe the DAO commits to staking X percentage of the native atoms it receives every month for the 3-month duration, at least starting to build that up. I think 10,000 might be a bit high in that sense, although I understand why, but it just seems like a big ask of the DAO at this moment. Maybe others disagree, but that would be my first comment.
Cool. Yeah, and I guess I would say whatever we think would be. I would be open to something like that, where the atoms that we give, they stake a percentage of them back. I'd be curious what the numbers would be on that, if they want, if we need to put that in the proposal, or if it's just some number.
Yeah, and that's fair, and
because I don't know what that number should be.
Totally, and that's fair, and this is the sort of thing that I would like to wait on the forum when I have time. But personally, I would support something up to 50% of the atoms that the DAO receives during the next 3 months are restaked at minimum, or something like that. And maybe it does more, but something to start building that number up, I would totally be supportive. I'm just not sure I could support the DAO going out and market buying with its limited staples,
cool.
$120,000 worth of atoms. But I like the idea in general, and I do like the idea of the DAO basically starting to stake if it can, and starting to accumulate some of those native atoms, and then if it wants to sell some on its own, it can. But something substantial, I would support.
Cool.
Hey John, one thing, I don't know if you heard on the AMA call, one thing that was kind of brought up, and I think Willie might even have put it in on the forum. One of the possibilities, and I don't know if you'd be more amicable towards this or not, would be to purchase Atom with our Fox, with our Fox holdings versus our stable coins, and be able to kind of diversify that way and get that, kind of jumpstart that. atom income or rev from staking it that way. I'm not sure if you're more amicable towards that or feel the same way, but that was mentioned, I believe, as a possible option as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea and maybe something we could look at. I mean, inevitably that means that we're basically creating sell pressure on Fox in order to do that. So other parts of the community might not be the happiest about that. Or maybe we could do something like, once we get this loan paid down on the Rari side, or refinance as we're looking at, maybe we could continue the bonds for like a month and use the proceeds to buy atoms. Like those are the types of things that I would potentially consider and support. I just think it'd be more sustainable to not ask the DAO to necessarily do that and to basically use the atoms it's generating to start staking more of those. But yeah, those are all things worthy of forum discussion. But the first part I just wanted to get clear on, which Scott just answered, is just like what was being suggested, because it just wasn't clear to me on the forum. Yeah. So that's the first one. The second one that I really appreciate is that you guys put in this marker about incentives to basically get the DAO back to, or at least get the DAO up to a 70-30 split from the 80-20 that you guys are proposing. And I just wanted to ask, because you kind of indicated this on the forum, like I think it's reasonable that, we can debate on the numbers and I'll go to the forum for that. But I think it's reasonable that TaxiState's asking for a much higher percentage given some of the things that they've talked about. But I just want to ask if you guys are open, let's say the 3 months go forward and the DAO does progress, hopefully a lot on all these various things that it's trying to do to drive delegations. Would you guys be open to reconsidering after 3 months, back towards the original split or something more significant than that? Or do you guys see it as, you wouldn't do more than that 70-30 going forward?
Yeah, I definitely,
go ahead, John.
I was on your previous point. Yeah, like the recommendation was of how many atoms over from the DAO's multi-sig, and a lot of the feedback we got was lack of skin in the game, or just like market smashing atoms. Like that's if it was market smashing Fox every week, that's negatively looked upon. So I think that the same way, and it shows like commitment to the Cosmos project also, and yeah, and definitely the point of like having shorter terms and shorter agreements and having milestones definitely leaves us open to renegotiating to any other kind of split in the future. It's also like a that wake up call. Let's get some more Cosmos features that we've been talking about for the past X amount of time implemented, because that's so just kind of also trying to get that incentive and discussion going more seriously.
Yeah. Yep. So I think the short answer is yeah, we were definitely open to, as the DAO drives delegations, we're definitely willing and excited to increase their split up from that 20%.
Yeah, I guess specifically just like you guys would be open to either going back to, I'm not saying we have to go back to what is the current 70-30 split the other way, but that wouldn't be off the table, if the DAO, doubled the validators delegations.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely. That's a win-win. And yeah,
exactly.
And
cool.
Speaking frankly too, I think like a TaxiState validator versus ShapeShiftDAO validator, the ShapeShiftDAO has just honestly far more potential for reach and engineering effort. And so I'm still a strong believer that we can be the DAO can be a very, very strong validator brand across a multiple more chains as macros change and stuff. So yeah, I definitely want to see the DAO grow and incentivize the DAO to grow with everyone. So yeah, totally agree. Exactly. Totally open to it in the future.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I think that's all I have for the moment for the stage. I'll try to, again, apologize. I just haven't had a lot of time this week. In the next week, I'm going to try to weigh in more thoroughly on the forum, but in general, I am supportive of this, especially on the 3-month term. I think that is logical and basically should hopefully push us as the DAO to implement some of these features. I know some of them are on the way anyway, hopefully, but hopefully to really move and execute on that and to start driving more delegations. I think that's fair, especially if we can basically renegotiate after a few months. So
Yeah, and
in general, I am in supportive of this. I might have some more comments on the forum, but I'll go from there, and just really appreciate both of you.
awesome. And one thing I wanted to point out, Willie pointed out in his comments, like the IFC delegation, which is the Interchange Foundation delegation. So, TaxiState spearheaded that for doing that application. And that's a great example of how it's a win-win for both teams if we do it right. Because TaxiState started it, we saw the opportunity, we started that, and then, shout outs to Willie and Vlad and like the Smith for really jumping in to help us make that application really strong. And I'm confident we're going to receive some delegations from that. And that's a 6-month period that they'll do that for. But that's a great example of how it's a win-win. The strong brand name and the fact that the ShapeShift has, a wallet and is supporting these changes and has these features in the queue, really made that our application strong. So I think that's a perfect example of when we do work together, we can grow both sides. So just wanted to point that out because that's something that is in the pipeline, and hopefully we'll see a award for that in the next, I think, month.
Sounds great. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah, no, thank you, everyone. Thanks, John, for coming up and being willing to ask some questions and allow the community to hear your thoughts and stuff towards it. I look forward to your forum posts as well. Yeah, and thank you, Scotch and Marley. And if you still have more to say, feel free. I just wanted to say there I appreciated John being willing to come up here and talk to us.
No, I think that's it for me, unless there's other questions from people.
Let me check the stage chat real quick, see if there's anything. Seems to be there's still some discussion on the current proposal, so not much here. But
sorry, I haven't looked at that.
No worries. Everyone finds the time when they can. Obviously, just appreciate TaxiState's willingness for both of you gentlemen to be able to put this together and get something put out there for the community to digest. I know it's been some time, and your focus has been very busy with I'm sure your travels to the different events and stuff. But thank you for putting in the time and getting this out here for everybody.
And I see a question from H. Payne. Where can I find more information about the things that make TaxiState validators unique? Awesome. I think really I don't think we have too much of this documented. There's been some like Twitter things and some forum posts and stuff. I think the things that make us awesome, right, is that we basically are giving back to the DAO. So when you delegate to any validator, you're going to earn the same pretty much rewards depending on, you're going to earn an equal amount depending on the commission rate. So we're pretty much standard commission rate for the ShapeShift validators. But the thing is that we split that commission and give back to the DAO so that we can further development, stuff like that. Also, with all the ShapeShift validators, we're pretty much a hybrid cloud model, right? So we use some cloud stuff. Validators are on bare metal and have HSMs on there. And so we should do, as TaxiState, we should probably promote that more. And I think that's something that we can collaborate with the DAO on for really promoting that. Willie had great ideas around the fact that when you donate or when you delegate to a ShapeShift validator, you're getting the same rewards as you would from donating somewhere else, but you're also help funding development in the ShapeShift platform. And I think that's one of the strongest things that we should be getting out there. And there's not a lot of current documentation around that or posts around that, but that's something that we should definitely focus on as a team. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, I don't know if H. Payne can come up on stage, but I can send him an invite if he wants. But he can also continue to write in the stage chat there. Seems that he has a follow-up there for you gentlemen. Yeah, go ahead. I know that you guys are very involved in the community, so I know that you can get with different members and help achieve those things.
Absolutely. And also shout out to Vlad and the Smith for starting like the now I feel stupid. It's kind of they had validating, I want to say validating club, but that's not the name of it. but anyway, they're definitely working on kind of getting more awareness and how to delegate. Some slides and some presentation around how to delegate to ShapeShift and what it does. And I think they're starting with Cosmos and working on some of the other validators that we have too.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Always appreciate getting it out to a larger audience, and being that they do tend to visit a lot of these different events that I'm sure yourselves go to
The
as well. Like
Validators Guild. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yep.
That
No worries. Definitely. And we need to promote all these things. So anything that helps. Thank you. Let's see. Anything else in there? Nope. Just responses and stuff. So I'm sure everyone, if you have any questions, you can definitely follow through and go to the forum and submit them there. I know that both these gentlemen are very responsive, and they think very much so on their answers. They don't just throw out an answer to end the question. They very much are very thoughtful, and they think about it, and they respond with a lot of research and thought. So if you do have a question, they will definitely take it into consideration and respond the best that they can. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And let's see. I think that will probably be, you guys can hang out if you want, or continue to catch questions. I'm not seeing that much more come in, but we don't have much else going on here, so feel free to hang out if you want. We have some old forum posts that really have already been spoken about a couple times. We did have one more thing that I know he's gonna shoot me, but we did have another post out there from GK, and it was a kind of just informative post about the partnership process, and there being a new partnership process. I know that obviously GK was just notifying the community as the mod, but if anyone that has been a part of that process wants to speak on it, they definitely can jump up here for a few minutes and talk about it, or if they want, they can just speak in stage chat. I know GK is not much for jumping up, but we do have some time for that. If you guys do want to talk about the partnership process, the new process, the best way of getting this jump started, and go from there. Let me see if there's anyone who's interested. Looks quiet. Don't see GK coming up. No worries. There's a post there if anyone wants to follow along. Just kind of points to Discord. There's a new process that's kind of been outlined that gives a little bit more availability to partners seeking to receive some interactions with the ShapeShift work streams. Gives them a process to be able to kind of start that, as well as a way of tracking this within the DAO and ensuring that we're getting the best ROI for our time spent in researching these things and ensuring that the partnership is viable for both sides. So feel free to take a look at that if you choose. That was our only other more recent posts. We have some older posts that I know we've talked about for a couple of weeks. So I'll just leave them in the slides there if anyone wants to go back and review them, or just jump on the forum and take a look back at a little bit a couple weeks back. But other than that, if anyone else wants to speak, you can feel free to raise your hand, or even just type into stage chat. I see there's some continuing conversation there, which I love, regarding some questions about TaxiState and the validators and the proposal and stuff. So as well as some earlier conversation still with the proposal that is live 108. But let's see. If no one else has anything else, I will probably wrap up our 64th weekly governance call. Appreciate everyone being here. Thank you for joining us. Join us next week. Let's see here. If we do change the wordage, I think we'd have to. Thanks, never was. No problem, GK. I'll allow you guys to continue, but thanks everyone for joining. Have a great rest of your week, rest of your day, and see you next time.